So, a little bit of background about me. I came over from TikTok, obviously, as you can see from the format of my videos. I've just been migrating a whole bunch of those onto here, and I will be making full YouTube videos that are, designed for this platform. They will be longer, etc., etc. But the reason that I'm making this video is because even on TikTok, I speak primarily about Her Royal Highness Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. And because of that, I get a lot of racists and royalists, propagandists, derangers in general in my comments and in my DMs and, trying to mess up my account and all of that. It's part of the reason that I've been migrating onto YouTube. And I think the thing that a lot of people on here don't understand is that I'm very used to dealing with these kinds of people. And so, to all of you who are going to come into my comments and just spew propaganda about Meghan and try to present this, oh, you don't know what you're talking about position to me, you're not going to intimidate me. You're not going to intimidate me. I'm not going to look at your name and think, oh my gosh, they're from the UK. Oh my gosh, they must know a lot more about me. Oh my gosh, these people are so well informed or whatever. Meanwhile, you're reading the Daily Mail, the Rota as a whole. Like it just... I'm not going to look at your little opinions in the comments and think to myself, oh my gosh, these people are so right. So I'm not going to get intimidated by you. I'm very used to dealing with people like you. But more importantly, when I call you racist, right, in the comments, I need you to understand that isn't just me pulling the race card or being woke that day or, anything like that. And so I just wanted to explain myself to all of you that I'm going to call racist going forward and that I've called racist up to this point. I'm going to link a video again from TikTok, and I hope you have a fun time watching it. The most frustrating thing about living in a post-colonial, post-racial world is that people believe we're living in a post-colonial, post-racial world. So that when you, as a Black person, explain how race affects your experience of the world and how people receive you, you're pulling the race card. As if this is Schrodinger's experiment and the situation could have been completely neutral until you, the Black person who held the key, chose to instigate it into a racist situation, chose to take it there. And if you weren't here to be a race baiter, everybody would just get along. I'm sorry, but that's not how racism works. Black people don't walk around with some kind of immunity card that we're just waiting to whip out at white people in situations where we're a little too sensitive or a little too woke. The reason we say these situations, the things you're saying are racist, is because they are. You have had 9 years to learn why people are saying these things to you. You have had 9 years to listen and to know why when you say this kind of shit, we say, babe, you're being racist. So no, it's not me pulling the race card. It's you finding out that you've been participating in racism all along. And it bothers you. It niggles you because you've told yourself that you're a progressive person, that you're a modern person, that you couldn't possibly be racist. And it's too many of you coming into my comments talking about how you have a Black husband, you have a Black son-in-law. You couldn't possibly be racist. Really? It actually doesn't surprise me that you have Black men in your life sanctioning this shit, giving you license to talk about and to Black women however you think you're allowed to. You think you're somehow now Black by association and you couldn't possibly participate in misogynoir. Well, that isn't the case. You are participating in it. And as I've said, you've had 9 years to learn why when we call you racist for saying the shit that you do, you're being racist. We're not just being woke. We're not just pulling the race card. You can trace this back to all the way to when Meghan entered into the royal family, when the British tabloid press took it upon themselves to use such words as niggling, to have like all these niggling feelings about her engagement to Harry, to say she's straight out of Compton. And then they went on to every single trope, every single stereotype that you can say about Black women. They used it in their media, in their presses, in their freaking newspapers that you read every single day. There are daily panels dedicated to calling this woman everything but a child of God. And you want to come here and say, I'm pulling the race card. Again, you've had 9 years to understand why we're calling you racist for saying this shit. But you're not interested in learning. You're not interested in listening. And you want to come at me and pretend that this is a fruitful debate you're just trying to have. And I took it there somehow. Like I made the situation racist. No, I didn't. And one of the reasons I refuse to have these debates with derangers, with all of y'all, one of the reasons that I block you and I tell you I'm not reading your comments is because I'm not reading your comments. Because I realize that the point of racism isn't to have a fruitful debate. It's to distract, it's to whittle me down, to have me convinced at the end. Because you keep coming up with all these nonsense propaganda peddle lies. Like, you keep coming up with this nonsense to kind of get me in the end to say, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe the situation could have been completely neutral and I made it racist by pulling the race card. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that for you. I'm not going to make you do you any favors so that you can go home and feel better about yourself, even though you've been participating again in racism for 9 freaking years. And one of the reasons I know this is racism, I'm new to this chat, right? I'm new to this whole Meghan situation. I only woke up to it in March of 2025. And immediately, all the nonsense that you were saying, I recognized it because you have used it against Michelle Obama. You've used it against Serena Williams, against Caster Semenya, Mogadi Caster Semenya. You've used it against prominent black women since time immemorial. And now you want to come and pretend that when you do it, it's not for the same reasons that the other people, that the other races are doing it. Ask yourself, why do your arguments sound exactly the same as people who are in MAGA or Brexit or any other kind of right-wing association? Why do you sound exactly like them? I know you go home and tell yourself that you're progressive, that you're modern, that you're not racist, but why do you sound like them? Ask yourself that question. And ask yourself why you never have an argument against this woman that isn't directly linked to the British tabloid press that, again, took it upon itself to weaponize misogyny against this woman so that you could hate her. Because you all wanted to prop who? Kate up as this, paragon of a virtuous woman, the proper princess or whatever. Have you ever asked yourself these questions? If you can't come up with something legitimate as to why you hate Meghan so much, other than she's a narcissist, other than she broke the queen's heart, other than, well, she took Harry away. Well, have you tracked where all of these things came from? Why did Harry leave? Because this is the other thing, right? You want to position Meghan as somebody who overreacted. Having never experienced racism yourself, a lot of y'all are women. You've experienced sexism. You've experienced it in your home, at work, in the street, everywhere. You understand how power works, how being marginalized works when it comes to you. But when it comes to black women specifically, why don't you have the same empathy, the same sympathy? If you can understand that being a woman is different from being a man because you can see how white men get treated better than you, how do you not understand that being a black woman is different from being a black man? How do you not understand that even though you have a black son, a black husband, a black daughter, whatever, son-in-law, how do you not understand that it's different for Meghan? The same way that you being a woman is different from your father, from your brother, from all the white men in your life. And I know I'm saying, white men, and I know it's not all white people. I understand that part. But it's enough of you. It's too many of you in my comments saying this shit to me. And I'm not going to be polite about it. So feel free to skip my videos. Nobody's forcing y'all to be here. And thanks for the engagement thus far. But if you feel like my videos are not for you, you do not need to engage. You can find a proper racist channel under which your bullshit will be welcome. And because I know you royalists, derangers, propagandists, racists, the Venn diagram of you people cannot and will not stay away from Meghan accurate videos or Meghan positive videos. Toodles, and see you in the next one. And I hope you have the day you deserve. Bye-bye.